Girl, why you gotta look at that? But the show, come on, you gotta be ready.
I was rubbing my
Hey,
eye.
everyone. Rub your eye and you got caught. Hey, everyone. Let me make sure I'm live because sometimes, okay. So, thank you for tuning in tonight. We have a good show ahead of us. We're talking about narcissistic parenting tonight, recognizing the signs. Some of us may go through narcissistic parenting without knowing that you're in narcissistic parenting. Some of us do carry some of the traits without knowing. So tonight we're just bringing awareness on our show. Tonight we are not, bashing anyone or pinpointing anyone. We're just bringing awareness and also sharing some of our own events that can lead up to this type of parenting. But I'm glad everyone could be here. If you're here, make sure you drop hello so we can recognize you. I'm not sure if it's going to say Facebook user tonight. I'm trying to get to 50 views, y'all. 50 what is they called? Subscribers, so I can go on YouTube. But I haven't gotten there yet. But maybe after watching the show, you'd be like, oh, let me go subscribe. But anyway, I'm Stacy. I'm the owner of Sashel Essence Spa. I am located in downtown Hampton, Virginia. So if you're ever in the 757, come and check me out. I provide lots of spa services. All of my information is on my business page, and I'm a skincare consultant. So anything you need for your skin that's all natural, I can take care of you. And this is my co-host. Go ahead, tell her who you are. Tell them who you
Hi,
are.
I'm Anya. Me and Stacey been friends for a long time, so she decided to bring me on, just to have a little chit chat, little girl talk.
Yep, I know that's right. And tonight we are pulling it together because we both feel like, what's my
Mm,
favorite word, Anya?
I'm not. I'm not.
You do it.
Hubba hubba.
Hubba hubba. It's like, what in the world? We are definitely going through it, but the show must go on. So, narcissistic parenting, I did not realize. Okay, so I'll tell you how I came about this topic, right? Then I'll tell you what made me decide to do it. So, I did not know that it was a such thing. First time ever hearing it, because when you're growing up, you don't think your parents or are narcissists. You don't think anything like that. First of all, we don't even know the word exists, right? But as you get older, you start to notice things. But I never knew that a parent could carry this trait, right? But they're still humans. But we think the best of our parents. Some of us do, ones that are involved. There's people out here that I'm starting to learn that don't even deal with their parents, which is so unfortunate, but that's how life goes, right? So one day I was listening to my son play a game, and he had his friend on. And me, I'm like, hey baby, you want some dinner? Oh my baby. Always buttering up my son. And I guess that was something like they heard. And so he was like, at least your mom loves you and feed you. Um, my mom don't think I'm going to be anything. I heard that because they always have it on like this loud gaming. I don't know what that is. I mean, just be deaf with the game. Just be in the game. I just want you to go ahead and be in the game. And when you're ready, just come out the TV because that's how loud it is. So I felt utterly like I felt so brokenhearted because I don't I don't think I could ever tell my child that they aren't going to be anything successful. And so I did that, right? So I said, what is that called when parents are always bashing kids like that? I'm like, why do a parent feel like they could tell their kids they're not going to be anything? So I was talking to another girlfriend and I was explaining it to her, and she was just like, that sounds like a narcissist. And I'm like, what? So the idea of it did not dawn on me. I'm like, a narcissist parent? That's weird. And she's like, yeah, you got to think about it. And we started to go into it. So me being the TikTok guru, I said, oh, this requires research. Let me go to TikTok. Listen, TikTok upgraded a lot of people's lives, okay? Listen, it
Yeah.
upgraded my life. Like I got all types of stuff from TikTok. So now I don't even go to Google. I don't go to YouTube, nothing. I go right to TikTok because I can get all the answers in 30 seconds. And what happened? It is a thing. Parents are narcissistic. as heck. So when I watched a couple of videos, the main thing that they said is they will portray themselves to be different in front of people, but you get the real them. But in front of people, they're different. And when you are reacting to them based on the trauma that you're receiving in the closed doors, they're blaming you because you're like, well, why are you treating your parents so bad? Right? I was just like, does that make sense? Okay, so once I started doing some more research and digging, all right, I don't know if I'm gonna see these comments tonight because I'm on both my pages. And some people on my regular personal page will drop in, but on my business page, I'm not sure. So I have to make sure that my thing is on stream. I'm gonna see if I see comments here. If not, then I'll switch to my other one. But yeah, so I started to think this is a real thing. And it's sad because this is what the parents are doing. So then as I started to dig deeper, now, you know, when you get on TikTok, right? The videos are never ending. So you go look at one video to look at another video, then you're clicking on a hyperlink to look at another video, and then you start. So it was just like I'm up for days and days looking at this whole thing because I did not believe it was. And then guess what I identified? I'm a victim of it. I was like, oh crap. I have a parent like that. That's, to me, that's diabolical. Because I was like, wait a minute. So they also said that they play victim a lot. There was other things that they said, like they'll remind you of the things that they're doing for you to gain sympathy. Putting their self first in a situation, making you feel like they owe you, like you're controlled. So when you figure out a way to get out of their presence to not feel controlled, then they start to freak out. So say for instance, me and my mom had an argument, right? And I'm like, well, I'm moving out. No, you're not going anywhere. You're not going nowhere. So they'll try to stop you. And it's like, well, wait a minute, you're fussing me out. I'm finding a problem to the finding a solution to the problem, but yet you're still acting crazy. So you will put up a block in front of me not to go out the door, but you caused this issue. So they're good for causing problems, right? They'll cause the issue. Look at Lola in the background. Oh, she's joining the podcast too, y'all. So they'll cause the problems in the background. And then after they cause the problems in the background, they're causing they'll how can I put it? They'll cause the issue and then try to fix it. Another thing is they'll buy their kids, right? So they'll do certain things. They'll fuss with them, call them all kinds of names, make them feel low and beneath themselves. And then you get ice cream after I just told you wasn't going to be anything. So I'm like, this is really real. And it, when I say, when I went through so many of those videos and see so many kids that are victims of it, it just made me feel so bad. I couldn't believe it. All right, so we have Hey Ladies. Now I think that my podcast is
Facebook user.
they're doing this for privacy reasons. I think this is like a new feature. So thank you for joining.
We
Thank
don't
you.
know who you are, but hi.
Hi. Yeah, it's a new feature they have. I just noticed if it did it again, it's a new feature. So,
Mhm.
Anya, I said to myself, I now I must just say my parent wasn't the parent to fuss me out and then give me candy. That wasn't it, right? It was like, I'll fuss you out and then next week we'll go to an amusement park. And we are too young to identify that that was where it started. That was like we were going through that. So, oh, it's Monty.
Okay.
All righty. So there you go. Thank you, boo. So I'm thinking now, Anya does not feel well, so that's why she's there with the stare. So
Yeah.
we gotta get her hype, y'all, because I'm over here just blambling and I'm like, what's going on? But she really don't feel good tonight, so bear with her. Her poor little tummy. So what's going on is I went through that. I was going through that. I was living in that moment. And so before I share my stories and everything, what's your touch on this, Anya? Because like I honestly did not think it was a thing until I started doing my research. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I'm starting to believe, like, am I doing the same thing?
I mean, I guess it just all depends on the conversations you're having. But I mean,
Hmm.
even the parents don't know that they're doing it because it's based off of how they were raised, how they were treated. So it's passed
Hmm.
down. Because really, it's just
Yeah.
repeating a cycle. Because I can sit here and say that there are things that I don't like that my father says, but then I can sit back and think
Hmm.
his parents did the same thing to him. So in
Right.
his eyes, this is how you're supposed to be treated. These are the things I'm supposed to say to my kids. I'm supposed to make them feel bad sometimes about things or throw up in their face. You'll do it for your mom, but you won't do it for me. And it's like, no, I'll do it for both of you. It's just the both of you approach situations differently.
Right. Right. Did you ever get that kind of behavior from any of, well, you said the things that your dad say. Would you say that he's in that kind of, because I know I went through it. I got stories.
But I
But I'm
mean,
like,
growing up, yes. I will say
okay.
that as an adult, it changed. It wasn't as drastic,
Hmm.
but he was very mean when we were younger. And he probably doesn't even remember half the stuff that he's done as far
Oh,
as the negative things that were said or even gaslighting or making you think that you did something wrong when you're like, I know that I didn't. I didn't do this. Are you sure? And
yeah.
he would
And that's
still
like,
put it on us and tell us we did it or
hmm,
it was a lot of situations that probably
and
weren't the best
gaslighting.
as parts and definitely dealing with, his temper and stuff. But a
Right.
lot of parents don't realize if they saw it growing up, because I know
Hmm.
even in childhood, like with his parents,
Hmm.
there was never really a lot of positive reinforcement or,
Hmm.
a lot of encouragement. It was always, I'll lead with the negative.
Oh,
So it's, you're in school and your grades aren't what they're supposed to be. So I've got my mom saying, you got to do better. If you want a better life, you got to make sure you're doing good in school. I need you to focus.
hmm,
And then because of how his parents spoke to him, it
hmm.
was, well, you're not going to be nothing if you don't do this. I
Oh,
mean, in
yeah.
all honesty, I don't see it anyway. It's like,
Right.
but I'm trying. But the
Right.
way that you're approaching it is you want to be harsh,
Right.
and that's not helping me. That's hurting me.
Right. Mm. That's crazy. And gaslighting was one of the actual signs of parenting.
Mhm.
For my mom, she raised 3 kids. Now, I'm not going to say anything against her raising us. I mean, we don't wake up one day and say we're going to have kids in a marriage and then end up not having kids in a marriage based on what we went through, right?
Mhm.
It's been like the thing, and now it's like the norm. Okay. If you don't have a father in the home, okay, whatever, or a mother, whatever your story is. But back then, you know, so once my mom separated from my dad, I guess it was just too much pressure for her, or she just felt like the world was against her with 3 kids and she's trying to do it and work. And I know that's hard because I mean, single parenting in the today's time is hard, right? So out of frustration, her thing is, oh, she'll be screaming in the background, I hate my kids. I'm like, oh, okay. You hate us? I'm like, what? What did we do wrong? I'm like, you had 2 choices when you got pregnant. You could have unfortunately had an abortion, or you could have gave us up for adoption. I didn't ask to be here. You laid on your back for me. So why do you hate me? Because I'm being a child and I am behaving like the age that I'm at. And I'm thinking maybe that
Mhm.
was like resentment for my father. So she acted out, or there was just this thing where I started cooking at an early age, and I was like 10 years old. Anya, who knows how to, I mean, now kids are hip. They have so much stuff and so much access. I mean, a 7-year-old probably can cook a pot of rice, okay? But even
Yeah,
adults,
pull out that air fryer.
okay, and just cook something. I mean, they're kids, but they have access to stuff. So back then I didn't. I had to learn from scratch, and it wasn't any, hey, thank you for cooking. You did a good job. I'm 10 years old cooking rice, and the first thing you say to me is the rice is hard. I'm like, well, I'm only 10. Maybe I missed some water somewhere. I don't know. Dang, could you? Which today it made me a hell of a cook. So I don't, it's like a win-win, right?
That it did. It did.
Okay. So, and right now my son's cooking, just to let y'all know, he's burning the heck out of this kitchen with one hand. I don't know how he's doing it. He said he was hungry. I'm like, don't cook. And he's doing it, and it's frying in here. So if you hear the fire alarm, sorry. So I'm like, what is he doing? Okay, so that's the thing that I experienced. So I didn't know that I was going through that. So now here it is, we're getting older, right? So she's past this thing where, and I remember when she did do that and did ridicule us, the next week we were going to like Wendy's. That was like a treat because you know now back in the day eating out was a treat. Or we were going to how was it? We were going to an amusement park. We were getting treated well afterwards. And I'm like, you just hated us last week. What happened? Did you feel bad you said that? Because I'm still thinking about it, right? Even at that young
Hmm.
age. So I'm like, I don't think she understands the thing that scarred us. And I think that's where my weight gain came from because I was always being in like a verbal situation. Like I probably use food as an emotional eating because of that narcissistic parenting trait that I did not know I was going through, right? So let me see. Let me read this comment. Single parenting will have you saying things you don't mean. It is all a part of the process. Unfortunately, parents have unconscious resentment and intentional it's a learning curve that some of us grow out of and one that others of us embrace. Right. So here's the thing with that, and I do know because I'm going to tell you in the end how that rubbed off on me. Do we know what it's doing to our children? Right? Is it going to make you divided when you have other siblings or family members? Because that didn't do anything for me and my siblings. It actually made us worse. So my mom was a victim in every situation. So instead of resolving any fights that we had, she would go back and say, well, I. That's all you heard. Me. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. It's three of us having the situation. How did you get in it? You didn't say anything. We had a fight. Do you know how to diffuse that to say, hey, that's not right? Be nice to your sister and brother. No, instead, you put yourself in it. And I'm like, how did you get in this? This had nothing to do with you. So now we feel bad because I don't know if that was a cop out. So even if she's a single parent, right? And she went through things, granted, it is a hard job because even me taking care of my children is hard. Even now as teenagers, I want them to go outside and live somewhere. But they're my kids, so I have to deal with them. I don't know how that would have affected them. I don't know how that would affect them when they get to an adult. If I said those things to them, how would they be as an adult? So Anya, I want to ask you something, right? Because I know how it made me feel. And I'm looking back at my life and I'm like, wait a minute, this is probably why I felt this way. Because the more I saw the videos, the more the past history, all of the remembrance, everything started to come back. I'm like, oh my God, my mom's a narcissist. I was like, it was so shocking and I didn't want to believe it, but the truth is the truth. This is unplugged, so I don't care. But did you feel maybe that had an effect on you growing up? Hey, thank you for tuning in.
When it came to my father, yes. I'll
Mm-hmm.
say with my mother, no. Because granted, I'm sure that she was very frustrated raising three kids by herself. But like I
Right.
remember sitting and talking with one of my friends, and her mom had like gone off on her, called her all kinds of names, and I was like, "Dang, your mama is harsh." And she was like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
your mommy never did that." I said, "You know what? To really sit here and think about it, my mother would get
Mm-hmm.
mad,
Right.
but I, off the top of my head, can't recall moments where she just blatantly called me out my name.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
she would express herself that she was mad, but there
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really any name calling or anything.
Right.
But then now, my father, my father on the other hand, whatever came to mind, that's that's
Dang.
that's what came out of his mouth, and he will go for blood.
I mean, from head to toe, you walking out the door like, dang,
And I mean,
what did I
it
do?
was. I
Mm-hmm.
will say that
Mm-hmm.
even in school when I was younger, I was really quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as girls, when you start to develop earlier than other girls, then you're hated by everybody. So I had a hard
Right.
time. I'll say elementary was great. I definitely had a hard time in middle school
Holy
because,
Grail.
yeah, because the girls hated me. The boys were all right with
Oh,
me. But, I
right.
had my few friends, but there was that. And then they getting picked on. And then you go from being in that environment, getting picked on, and then coming home and you have someone that's always so
Yeah.
angry. So it definitely was rough on me through those years. Like I will
Mhm.
sit here and transparently say, I spent a lot of years doing a lot of stuff because I didn't want to be here.
Right. Oh, wow.
And I mean, even there was one time where
Mm-hmm.
I hope she don't get mad at me for saying this, but there was even one time where I got really upset between being picked on and then, of course, the verbal abuse that
Mm-hmm.
I was having to endure with my father at the time, to
Mm-hmm.
where I took a bunch of pills. I was
Oh,
like, you make it seem like you don't want me here. I don't want to be here either. I feel like it's nothing's getting better. And I ended up
mhm.
going to the hospital. Like my mother caught me and took me to the emergency room so that they could give me charcoal. And I mean, even after that, it was still rough.
Right.
She sat down, had conversations with my teachers, explained what was
Mhm.
going on as
Mhm.
far as in school and everything I was feeling. But even as a child, because of where his mindset was, I couldn't express to him how I felt, which I can't hold that against him completely just because
Mhm.
his parents were the same way.
Oh,
If you were upset about something, if you were dealing
mhm.
with something,
Mhm.
oh well, get over it.
Right.
And
But not make you go
that's
ahead,
hard
I'm
to tell
sorry.
a child that's 11, 12, 13 years old, oh, just get over it. And I remember even when we went to the hospital,
Mhm.
he said that I embarrassed him. Like
Oh my
it
God.
wasn't about what I was going through, how upset I
Mhm.
was. It was about the fact that he felt like I was making a fool of him because he was in this emergency room because his daughter decided to take a bunch of pills.
Did you ask me why? Ask me why. I don't think our parents back then took notice to that. Everything
I mean,
goes over
my
their
mother
head. I don't
did. My mother was open to those
know.
conversations. She would check on me and ask me how I was. But when it
Right.
came to my dad, you weren't going to get the softer side of him. Now I can say
Gee.
now that I'm older, I definitely don't hold it
Mhm.
against him. But I mean,
Mhm.
back then it was hard, and that did kind of play a part in that. And then
Mhm.
he said even some hurtful stuff after that when I did it, like, "You did this for attention."
What?
And it's like, "No, I didn't do this for attention. I did this because I genuinely didn't see the value of my life, and I
Right.
didn't wanna be here."
Or yourself. Like,
Yeah.
that is the most hurtful thing, and it's more hurtful when it's coming from the person that you love the most. Our parents get unconditional love. Anyone that deals with their parents full on they get the unconditional love. Like, that's a different type of love when you have a child or if you have a parent, right? And you're thinking, you should be the first one to ask me, "Well, what happened? What did you
Mhm.
do? What?" I would be sick. Like, wait a minute, did I drive my child or what made her want to? I would want to dig and dig and dig to find out. But again, like you said, his foundation was different.
Mhm.
So he doesn't probably know how to coddle you in a situation like that. And it's not embarrassing, but to him, it's like, oh, what am I going to tell everybody? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah,
That
especially
to
when the
me,
family showed up.
oh, girl, that was probably the worst moment. I've been there. Let me just read this comment here. It definitely causes division and has the ability to cause sibling rivalry. Jealous tendencies may arise from the kids. Oh yeah, my mom, She divide her children. She divide them. She'll go talk about me with my sister, talk about my sister with me, talk about my brother with us, and we going back and forth. And then I'm building up this hate in my could you hide? I'm building up this rage because I'm listening to these stories thinking, oh, she's treating her bad. But no, what she did develop is an insecure daughter. She's my sister. I'm putting her out there. Okay. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because she grew up miserable because she spent so many years trying to prove herself to my mom, but yet she's still never satisfied. What the heck is that? And then she said her mom used to make her feel that way before she passed. So you took it
Mhm.
with you and now you're making your daughter feel that way. I mean, granted, my sister got shit with her, okay? I'm gonna capitalize the S word. S. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna put my feelings aside. She's taking care of her. She's providing for her. My daughter's taking care of my daughter. My sister's taking care of her entire household. Okay. A man, mom, baby, building rents, businesses, car insurance. Like she's drained of taking care of this life, right? Although my mom do care about her child, it's still heavy on her back. Why don't you get her a card and say, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much for taking care of me because you're not supposed to take care. Like I'm trying to keep myself healthy because I don't want my kids to feel like they have to take care of me because I'm sick, right? But that's just what happens. And never did I hear my mom say, I don't know what she says on her own. She could be very grateful, but the actions doesn't show it. And so I see my sister like literally killing herself to keep proving herself to my mom. But all I hear is she's never satisfied. The more you give her, the more she's complaining. So then you're causing feud because now we're talking about you, right? So then if you bring it to her attention, hey, you're being a butt. We're tired of you being ungrateful in a nice way to where it doesn't hurt her feelings. My mom is butthurt over everything. Then it's God got me. I don't cut. Okay, I get that. Cut it. The issue is this is what's going on. Please stop making it about yourself. Could you help this girl? Because now she's out here and she doesn't even know how to function in a adult mindset. So now you're seasoned physically, but you're emotionally immature because you've never been taught to just let things go. You got to attack it because you feel like you're defending yourself because you're being, like you're never being, like it's someone always telling you, do more because it's never being appreciated. Do more. You're not satisfying me. Do more. So she's exerting herself to do more. And then it's trickling down into her relationship. But this person doesn't treat her well. So now you're accustomed to toxicity, right?
Mhm.
I figured out the problem. So I said, oh, I'm separating my dang self. Somebody said it's a lack of self control in front of the kids that also affects their self control and coping mechanism. Yeah, that is true. That is so true. And I don't know. Hopefully, this show tonight will help someone that is secretly dealing with that because no one wants to say that they're that parent, right? Now, I will tell you, I had a moment. I did have a moment. And one day, now, everybody knows Cheyenne. She's so sweet. I'm like, yeah,
She is.
to you guys, but to me. So we go ahead and we butt heads. That's gonna happen. Um, One day I was talking to her. She started the snapping of the neck, the rolling of the eyes. I'm like, what the heck? I felt myself boiling. Now, remember on the last show, I said there was a person back here that I didn't want to come out. Girl, I was so mad. I looked at her and the bit. I said, Cheyenne, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to call you that. It just flew out of my mouth. And I said, did I call my daughter a what? Girl, I cried the entire night. She didn't know. I was just in there so down on myself. I was like, how could I have called my daughter that? What made me get that mad that I called her? And the look on her face, that was it for me. Killed me. I was like, you need self-control.
But
I
at least
started to roll my
you were able to take that moment and recognize that though.
yeah,
But it
girl.
came out so easy because that's what you were used to hearing when you were
Yeah,
growing up. So it's like,
right.
this is an acceptable way to talk to my child. Let me go ahead and say this.
Yeah, I was so mad. Somebody said right. And then I done seen Shy act out, shaking my head. Now, only one person could say this. I think it's Nikki.
I was sure about to say it
Because
must have been Nikki.
yeah, 'cause she work hand in hand with her, and she's seen that for herself. Cheyenne got some stuff with her. So, but it devastated me so bad because that word slipped out and it was so natural, so fast. Like I was talking to some girl in the streets. I could not believe it. And her face was like, you never got that mad. Maybe she thought to herself, oh, I really pissed her off. But then in my mind, I'm like, why would you call your daughter that? Are you normal? Like I was going around for days trying to think what kind of person I was to have done that. Like I never thought I would call my daughter the B word ever. So after I had a chance to think about it, because now I'm trying to see how I'm gonna revisit this conversation because I didn't call her out her name and I said sorry immediately, but I had to walk away because I thought I was a fool for this. It devastated me. I'm not even gonna lie. And I know some parents out here get mad, and yes, they have called their daughters some B words, okay? But for me, trying to break that, and my mom, yeah, she never called us that. So I don't know how that, I don't know. Maybe I confused her with the way she was acting as a form of disrespect, and I had to defend myself immediately because I've been defending myself my whole life, right? So now I'm like, I have to defend myself against my own child. It just happened. And so when I went to apologize with her, she said, I'm sorry. And that was it. She was like, I don't know. I was just like, oh my God, what did I do? I was devastated, Anya. I was. I'm not even
I
gonna
mean,
lie.
but at least you were able to apologize though. You recognized what you did. You
Hmm.
apologized to her, told that it wasn't right for you to do it.
Hmm.
It it's
Yes.
parents that don't do that.
Right. And we did. We grew up in that because my mom never apologized.
Hmm.
Ever, 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 ever. She couldn't even say I love you. So she wasn't going to apologize. Okay. But she apologized to the grandkids.
You know
I'm
what? That's another episode.
oh, we have our grandparenting early episode coming. Wait till
That is another
Aliens.
episode. I don't even think it has to do with early. I just think it has to do with they get soft.
Yeah, like weird. And I'm like, what in the world? You saw how I snatched her girl up. Oh, yeah, that's Nikki. Oh,
Hmm.
that day, I don't know. I saw another side of Nikki. I was like, all right, kids, let's go ahead and eat. I was like, what's going on? But kids will push you there. They will put you into that position where you're like, what is wrong with you? Don't you think that I'm your mother? Why do you treat me this way? But then again, are we supposed to just say, okay, this is how they are, they're going through something, or what do you do with that? Like, I'm trying to figure this out. This is a newly topic for me. This is why it's like a struggle for me to find answers because it's like I did not think this was a thing. And I'm like, am I doing it? Was I a victim of it? Yes, I was. And so I don't know. Anya, help me on this one.
I mean, I don't ask for apologies because I know that I'm not going to get it. Um, for me, I just got to a point where I just decided to accept the behavior and just say,
Hmm.
you know what, this is who you are.
Hmm.
Take it as a grain of salt and just move accordingly. Because
Right.
depending on how long
Mhm,
your parent has been doing this and what they went through as they were when they were a child, you can't really expect them to change. You can have conversations and hope that they will. And I will say, even as adults,
mhm,
me and my siblings, we've had conversations with my mother about
mhm,
childhood. We've had conversations with my father about our childhood. As adults, it's sometimes
mhm.
it's easy to have the conversation, sometimes it's not. It just all depends on if it's a moment to where they're open to it.
When is that moment? Because I swear I tried that with my mom, and she goes into an immediate attack. Oh, everything's my fault. I'm like, what are you talking about, lady?
It was just that is the reaction that I usually get from my father when those conversations come up. Now my mom, she's more open and she's like, "Really? I mean, I don't remember it, but I'm
Mhm.
sorry." Or there are moments where she did remember stuff that she did and she's like, "You know what? Yeah." But they're different though.
Mhm.
Because my mother was the one that had us in the house, that was raising us. And it's as kids, we don't know everything our parents are going through.
Yeah, we don't.
So
Yeah.
she did, her occasional fussing at us. But I mean, outside of that, really, my mom would just stay quiet and just go about the business. And like,
Mhm.
I'll see y'all in a minute. I need a moment. And
Right.
I mean, even with our friends growing up, they'd be like, that's weird. Like, your mom, she always looks so angry. She never talks to us. And as an adult, they're like, oh my God, your mom is so nice. Like, she's always
Uh,
cracking jokes. And I just love talking to her. It's like, yeah, that's not what we got when we were younger. But that was also dealing with the frustrations of being a single mom. But
right.
I mean,
Mhm.
we've had conversations with my dad where
Mhm.
we'll bring up the fact that we didn't spend as much time with him as children when our parents split that we would have wanted
Mhm.
to. There was even a joke that my sister cracked one time where she was just like, and he was like, yeah, and I'm there for my kids. And, da, da, da. And Monty was like, oh, well, what about this year and that year and this year? And he was like, I cannot believe you just said that. And she was just like, it's okay though. I'm not saying it like I'm mad. I can joke about it now because I'm grown. It's
Right.
it's already passed through. But
Good.
it's like back then, no, it was serious
Right.
because we needed you and you had every excuse in the world
Mhm.
and you refused to be there. But I
Right.
mean, his parents were the same way. Our
Right.
relationship, we definitely did have a relationship with our grandmother.
Mhm.
Not so much with our grandfather because he was definitely more negative than she was.
Ooh.
But with her, it depended on the kid
Mhm.
because every grandchild is not treated the same.
Right.
But I mean, when it came to the person that always had something negative to say, it was
Mhm.
definitely him. So it's like now, as an adult, when you think back on it, you're like, well, I know the things that he said to me when I was a child. So who knows what he was saying to his children while he was raising them?
Right. Do you think it trickled down, like to any of your
Oh,
siblings?
definitely.
Let me see. Oh yeah, I could imagine. It says, "What happened? Was you blacked out?" I don't know. I think I just saw her with this, and this. It just triggered something, and I just went off because I'm like, "Why are you doing all that? What is that?" But I had to realize, hello, she's a teenager. She's trying to find herself. You need to calm down. She's not a chick in the streets. So once I realized that, it tamed me down. Now, do I still fuss her out? Yes, but I be trying in the name of Jesus to just be mindful that she's not a girl in the streets. She is my daughter. So I have to be mindful that I'm not blacking out on her when she start her thing and her thing. My son, he just hard-headed. He just hard-headed.
Yeah.
He don't listen. You be calling him 1,000 times and he'll never show up. He'll make you get out of character, but with him, because he's such a gentle person, I just skip over. I'm like, all right, whatever. You're a boy. It doesn't rub me as wrong with him because he's not a firecracker like my daughter.
No, he's
So
not.
that's
For him,
yeah,
he's so private and so quiet. It's
yeah,
like you really have to choose the moments when you have those conversations. You have to pay attention to the environment that you're in as to whether or not he's going to respond to you. Because yeah, the
right.
other night you definitely called Dorian about 5 times, and he was still back
Eh,
in that room. And I know that it was because it wasn't just you and him.
oh yeah,
And he was just like,
girl,
"No,
you
maybe we could
almost
talk about this when she leave." Like, Mom, why you want to fuss at me? But I mean, still, what you said to him wasn't bad at all. It
I
really was
almost
a
went.
calm conversation, but he didn't have nothing to say back.
Girl, I wanted to go in there and squeeze the bad hand. Get in here. He'd have been like, ah. Girl, I was so mad at him. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just continue to do what I do. I ain't worrying about him. But yeah, so you said it trickled down because I know it trickled down to me because I'm thinking about some of the things that I have done even when they were younger. It took me out of character raising them by myself, and I was completely by myself. So I had some moments with them, especially like Cheyenne made me lose a job one time. Girl, she was getting all kinds of stuff when she was like between 3 and 5. That thing, I don't know who that was, like the devil advocate. Okay. She put me through it. So I'm thinking, trying to remember back if I was terrible during those times. And I'm like, Lord, I hope she don't remember anything I've ever done, because I was very frustrated raising them by myself. I had a lot of run-ins. And then as they got older, I relocated and we did a lot better. So I'm thinking that I didn't get too much of it, but I know it's a thing. Now, did it trickle down to any of my other siblings? It got all of us. It got all of us. Because even sometimes my brother play victim, like somebody bothering him. And I'm like, sir, you all the way in Antarctica, minding your business, and you still the victim. I don't get it. But that's how it is. So we leave him over there because
Yeah,
it's a
'cause
safe space.
there is a divide. There is.
Yes. And
But
I think she did that. Uh-huh.
at the same time, I guess for me, when I look at it, it's like, okay, there is definitely a divide to an extent between the siblings, and everybody has their own, their own view of how we grew up. But at the same time, it's you're looking at one person saying you didn't do enough, and it's like, well, I had three people looking at me asking me to do everything.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy. And I don't know how I believe, I strongly believe, and because this is such a sensitive topic, but I'm unplugged and this is my platform, so feel how you want to feel. But I believe that she definitely divided us. Seriously. Because we should now with my kids, I don't play that. They absolutely, if anyone know my children, they love each other unconditionally.
They
This has
do.
been them. Where you see Duran, you see Cheyenne. Where you see Cheyenne, you see Duran. They love each other. They protect each other. Cheyenne thinks she's Duran's mom. I can't say nothing to him. She's upset
They
for
have their
him.
own language.
Yeah, you don't hear what they're saying. Like they are downright. And I did that because I know that me and my siblings don't have a good relationship. It's on and off like heck. It's like 6 months here, we'll do well. A year, after a year, we're like, oh, we went too long. Let's start something up because it's not normal to us. And guess who's the common denominator in this whole thing? When I thought back to it and started watching the videos, I'm like, it's been this ninja this whole time that's been separating us. And this is why we don't have a good relationship, is because she went to each and one of us and planted her seed. So now, even if everybody got S with them, okay, sugar, honey, iced tea, the world, there's people that have good things and bad things, but everybody in the world, if you sit here and deny that you don't got some stuff with you, something's wrong. I don't even want to be near you because you're not being real, right?
Delusional. Delusional.
Delusional, delulu, like they saying in these times. Everybody got stuff with them. Whether it's out loud stuff or hidden stuff, you got some underlying things and things that don't go well with everyone, right? But it's like she made division because we were all getting angry at each other by talking. So I realized that one day me and my sister was on the phone. She said to me clearly, Mommy is mad because I did not turn the fan on. So now she's huffing and puffing. My sister told her we're waiting for the air condition to melt because this summer everybody air conditions were not working. It was hell because the HVAC was just overrun. It was overdone, right? So her thing was freezing, her HVAC was freezing, and you had to let it cool down. She told me it was freezing and she had to let it go, right? I'll turn it on when it's done. It only takes about a couple of hours. My mom's not going to die. But she wants what she wants right there. Mind you, you're in a bed, you're not moving around, you're well taken care of, you get round the clock care, you get round the clock meals, you get round the clock baths, somebody's changing your butt. I mean, help me wipe my butt. Can you help me wipe my butt? Okay, you're getting that, you're getting all of that. I'm not saying it's luxury, but dang, right? You don't have to do nothing for yourself. So she's huffing and puffing. Anya, she's calling me. I'm like, Mommy's calling me. She's like, I know. I was like, because she's going to complain about you to me, and I'm on the phone with you. So something says, I said, hold on, let me hear what she has to say. Oh, I'm tired of your sister. I am hot in this room, and she's making me suffer. And I'm like, no, you're not. I'm on the phone with her. Oh, you are? Yes, I am. So you're not going to talk about her today. But the problem is because we waited so long to address what we're noticing, which we didn't know was narcissistic parenting, because, like I said, I just found out this information, but we started noticing the signs, right? Because we started noticing it, we're trying to break that chain. But guess what, Anya? It's too late. We have it in us, and it's hard to walk away from it, right?
Yeah.
So it's just going on. And even when we could diffuse the situation, we don't. We go full fledged, 1,000, because we have to, because that's what's normal. So we recently just had a big blowout, common denominator sitting right there. So I said, okay, I'm done. I need a 6-month break. I'm praying. I was like, Lord, just keep my mom in good health. I got to be out. See you later. I need time. I got things I'm focusing on. I want to do things in peace. So I'm not talking to him right now. I don't know when, because this is like the final time in 2024. I'm like, I don't have the energy. I think because I'm in my 40s, I don't want to do this. So I was just like, this might be the final time I revisit this again. I need a
Less
break.
patience.
Yeah, I was just like, no, I don't have the tolerance. I'm done. I need peace and quiet. And I felt bad when I just hung up on my mom, because I told him the last thing I said was, well, now since I done went off and y'all got me up to here, you could go drink crumpets and teas and eat crumpets and drink tea and talk about me if that makes y'all feel better. But I'm out. And I just hung the phone up. Took myself completely out of the square. When I say out of the square, they can't even send me an email. I'm done. Like, right? So I was just like, wait a minute. This pettiness that I'm doing to prove a point, when they don't care, they're going on with their lives, regardless if I'm here or not. Why did I let them get me that upset? This is something we're used to doing because my mom is the main person. So I was just
Hmm.
like, and even when I was telling her that me and my sister have the issue, she's telling me that God got her. And I'm like, yeah, he got everybody. Everybody that believes in him, he has them. Where are we going with this? So I was like, Mom, I was like, you know what? Take care of yourself. And I left it at that, because it wasn't no winning. Because again, that narcissistic trait, she made it about her. This
Hmm.
wasn't about you. This was about me and my sister. And you made it about you, so that way you could look like the victim. We'll continue to be the victim. I have my life to live. I have my own children to take care of. And I don't want to leave them with this impression that this is how we are all the time, because I worked hard to make sure that they love each other without all of this drama and chaos, right? So I don't know. Did you think it had any effects on you and your siblings? Like, be honest. This is Pill Talk Unplugged.
I mean, it definitely does. It definitely does. Because sometimes we get played against each other, or just like you said, you're on the phone with your sister and your mom is calling you so that she can complain to you
Instead
about
of
her,
you,
like you're going to change something. Like she has to cause that divide between the two of you. Like, oh well, I need you to agree with me so that you can tell her that she's wrong.
right.
No,
I'm not doing that. And I was
it
just,
was
and I
it was
sat
easier to manipulate me as a child, but not
there,
as
right?
an adult.
Not
Not
now.
as an adult.
And I told my sister, I'm like, what is she doing? And she's like, I don't know. I was like, anyway, what's up with the baby's party? Because he's getting ready to turn 1. So I was like, what's up with that? And we kept on with our conversation. But it's like the devil still he wasn't satisfied right there. He's like, oh, so y'all trying to avoid what we usually do? I'ma get you. And he did, and we allowed it. We allowed him in enough that now we are in turmoil over the fact that we did not control our emotions, because this is what we're used to. But it was so
Because
shocking.
she likes that chaos.
Yeah, and I don't know if, and then she'll say, I don't know, you guys are always arguing. I'm like, well, there's no accountability. So I felt so bad, because I'm like, this, we've been played on our whole lives and we didn't even recognize it.
Mhm.
And I might have done this to my children. So now we're going out this weekend. Hopefully Doron's feeling better enough. If not, we'll just do it at home, to go and talk about this. Like, do mommy ever make y'all feel like y'all not worth it? Or did I ever say anything to make you not feel worth it? Like, please tell me so I could fix me before it's too late. Because I don't want you to get to 25, 26 and be like, I don't deal with my mom at all. I don't want that. I would be crushed. Right. And then you, Anya, when you have your children, you want to be mentally okay with, not breaking down and just saying whatever to your kids. And you're like, oh my God, I'm being my
Yeah,
dad on the
because
low.
there were times when, well, no telling what was gonna come out. I will say,
Hmm.
like my sister, Lord knows she is a hothead. Jesus
Not
knows she
Monty.
is a hothead. Sometimes she says the most off the wall stuff, but I will say
Hmm.
that I have seen the growth in her recently. I have seen, like, she has her moments where she's like, I'm ready to snap, but she'll catch herself.
Good.
She'll take a moment to
Hmm.
go cool off and think about it, and then she'll sit down and just have a conversation with the kids.
Good.
And I don't feel like I've ever said anything to her about it, but I mean, I really do admire that she does that, because I know that when it comes to attitude wise, sometimes between all three of us, we got a lot of our daddy in us. But
Mm.
the fact that she recognizes that in those moments and she takes her time and she's patient with her kids,
Hmm.
it's admirable. It really is. Because it's like, I know what we heard when we were growing up, and you could definitely just go ahead and act the exact same way.
Right.
But she chooses not to. There are moments where, yeah, you get frustrated, but
Hmm.
usually she catches herself. But I know that we probably all got that gene in us. It's just whether or not we
Hmm.
decide to break that cycle or if we repeat it.
Repeat it. Right. And I think once you're aware of it, it's time to change it. Why keep going?
Yeah.
Just change it. Just say to yourself, if you find anybody that's on here
But it's
or ever
also
or
about
watch this
accepting it,
show,
though. Like, you have to take
right?
accountability. If you don't take accountability,
That
nothing can
part.
change. And sometimes when dealing with the narcissist, just remember they're not the problem. So it's like, oh,
You are.
you do this and you do that. I need you to do stuff differently. Well, why are you telling me that I need to do stuff differently? Because last I checked, you're not perfect either. Now, that is usually how a lot of conversations go with my father. We have to deflect to blame everybody else instead of taking
Taking account.
accountability for what we did. Or it'll be a battle for a while, and then eventually he'll be like, okay, well, you're right. I do need to change that. It's like, what, why did it take us 45 minutes to get to this point? We could have did this from the beginning.
Not wanting to take accountability. So anyone that have watched this show tonight, hopefully, if you are the narcissistic parent, not like I said, this is not bashing, this is to bring awareness. Reflect and change some things and understand that I don't want this to be something that my child says about me and they're on a podcast talking about me, you know, or they're hurt by it or their life reflects on it. Like I said, I had a lot of weight gain. My dad, I ain't even gonna talk about him because that's a whole nother podcast, but he was a huge narcissist too. But because we didn't see him as much and we got to an age where we didn't really need to be around him, we chose whether we wanted to be around him. We probably went through a lot of things. Like my brothers probably can say more about him than we can as the girls because we got away with hell. We got away with a lot. So coming from my mom, again, not so much we heard things, but it's just the victimizing thing that she does. And it's like, well, why the heck are you always acting like, and you don't get to speak your truth. You don't get to say how you feel. You don't. You don't
Hmm.
get to say, Mom, that hurt my feelings because her feelings has to be hurt first. So you're like, ugh, I didn't get nothing done. I didn't get any point across. And then it comes always, everybody's attacking me. Oh, everybody's making me feel bad. And I'm like, dang, why do you always have to do that? Now we feel bad because we're trying to tell you that we're hurt, but you're not taking time to listen. And I know my sister, and this is all jokes aside, like I said, we have our moments. I don't love her any less. I just need a break because right now she's not ready to mature. And I need her to get in a place of maturity so we can get along better because I'm moving into that world. I'm becoming a woman, a businesswoman. You know, I'm finding myself and I need her to get there so we don't clash, right? Because
Hmm.
some things she say, I'm like, who do you think you are? I mean, okay. But I don't want to make her feel below or beneath because I'm no better than no one, right? But I know where I'm evolving to. So I have to separate myself from that. But I feel so bad for her because I feel like she's going to spend the rest of my mom days trying to prove herself because my mom is never going to be satisfied. And even if she is, it's always that guilt that I can't be that way to my mom because it's my mom. But deep down inside, she's suffering. She's hurting. She complains. I hear it. She talks about it. And my sister's not
Mhm.
a person to show emotions because she has to be so strong. Well, no, sis, you're weak on the inside. You're hurting. Who are you going to talk to about it? Now you have your own baby. Don't be that mother. Nip it in the bud now. Separate yourself from that. Even if she's the grandmother, don't let her have that control. And because I took my life back, I spent many of years helping my mom with the kids, with my sisters and brothers. And I said, you know what, as an adult, you're not wearing me down. I don't care how you feel. I'm walking away. So if you don't like what's going on, then I'll see you in the next life. Peace. So given that strength that I've had, it made me feel even more, yeah, I'm in my right mind because I know I'm not the only one that's dealing with this. So this was really good. And I hope that this can help someone tonight. Even if it didn't help anyone, you learned something new.
Yeah.
Or if you are a victim, talk to someone or go to the person, go to the source.
Have
Mom,
that hard
heart,
conversation. Express how you feel. They may not change, but at least you get to say what's bothering you, what you're feeling, because you need to get that off of your chest too. Whether it
yeah,
makes a difference, whether it doesn't, you still need to find your voice and you need to use it.
yep, you do. To let them know that this hurt me. And I am who I am today
Have
because go ahead. I'm sorry.
have those hard conversations.
Yep.
Like, put
And
everything on the forefront because your parents may not know, and there
mm,
may be pushback, but then at the same time, they may actually take a moment and think about how they were raised and how they grew up, and maybe they'll think about the effect that those things had on you. Maybe if
right.
you're a parent, you'll take the time to think about the things that you said and how it may have affected your child. You may be able to sit down and
Right.
have a conversation with them right now that can be very transparent and really
Mhm.
change the way that y'all communicate with each other.
Right. Even your relationship, if you don't have one, maybe that can make your relationship stronger
Hmm.
by coming to the table. And let me tell you, our parents are very stubborn. They don't want to hear that they're wrong. But two things can come out of that. Either they can be apologetic and take heed to what you say and change, or they're just going to be who they are. And it's now that time for you to decide how you want to move forward. And
And
I
how
know
you
for
want to
me,
heal.
yeah, and how you want to heal. I know for me, I absolutely downright love my mother. But right now, she's not in a place right now to where I'm in a place that we can grow together to be better. She doesn't have much time. Let's be real. She's sick. And I'm like, let's try to mend some things. The last thing I want to hear is something that happened to you and we weren't on good terms. So let's figure out how you're not going to no longer be the victim. So I can address you about these things that bother me and we can move forward. Even if we don't
Mhm.
talk again, at least I know I cleared my heart and you know that I still love you. I'm still here for you. But right now, this space that I'm in, you're not invited because I'm in a better space. And if I'm getting closer to God spiritually or whatever I'm doing in my life, I can't do that with all the toxicity. And you're not breaking that chain for any of us because you're the person that's keeping this foundation together. So hopefully this show, this is so good. Oh, look, Anya, we got a
I
good
want to look. I want to know
show.
who said it.
I
Facebook user.
know who said it. And another person said this is good. I'm so glad that whoever tuned in, I'm happy for you for tuning in. I thank you so much for your continued support and welcoming my co-host. She's awesome. We just go back and forth, and our topics are so wonderful. We
Look,
have
we talk
another
about this stuff on a daily, y'all. We
daily.
really talk
So
about
now we're
everything
bringing
under
it
the sun.
to you. So now we can bring it to them, right?
Hmm.
So I absolutely love it. I thank everybody for tuning in. Send me, I'm going to put my email in the chat or, my Facebook. Hit me up on my business page. Or you can send me a message to my business page or my personal page, or you can contact Anya on it. Look, she got her own baby. Don't be a narcissist to her now.
She wants to be seen. She wants to be seen.
So go ahead and hit me up if you have any topics you want to discuss. we can go ahead and talk about your show. We're going to give our viewers one time to send. You know what? Forget that. We'll put it as a poll on my page. How about that?
Yeah.
And you drop a topic, and me and Anya will go through it and pick a winner, and we'll talk about your topic on the show. We'll pick a day, and it will be your topic. So, say for instance, somebody put life after life or whatever. We'll pick that, and we'll go ahead and elaborate on it, and we'll let the viewers know that it was your topic, and we went ahead and discussed it. So, I'll put that up on not tomorrow. I'm so busy tomorrow.
And you
Maybe I'll
never know. You might be
yeah.
able to join in on the conversation too.
Yep, sure. Yeah, so that way you could come on as a guest as well. And
Hmm.
I'll probably do it. It will be by Monday. Just bear with me because I have such a busy life. Doing nothing. Just kidding. But yeah, it was a good show. I thank everybody that came on tonight and joined us. I hope that this was able to help you get through something. I hope that it was beneficial for you tonight. I hope that you learned something. Also, our next show, I'm not gonna tell y'all what it is. I'm gonna leave it because that's a very sensitive topic, very sensitive. And I don't know how everybody feel, but we will know once the next show drop to come on and talk about that day. So, are you ready for that show, Anya?
You know, I'm not going to drop any hints. This is going to be very interesting now.
It is. Our
Very
shows are
interesting.
getting better. Our shows are getting good. The topics are going to be excellent for the rest of the season. So I will see everyone. You have been unplugged tonight and have a good night. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.